Austin. He is Irish, really cool accent, living in Cape Town, right? He's an Agile journeyman. He's been doing Agile stuff for like 8 years. And he's going to talk to us about impact mapping, which is a tool for strategic planning, and it's really awesome to help you build great products.
Okay. Thanks, Candice. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can everyone hear me? Is this mic that lean in like this?
Yeah.
It's not great. Anyway.
There's a mic on the table.
Okay, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello?
That's better.
A little bit better. So, I'm here to talk about impact mapping, which is one of my favorite things at the moment. And it's definitely helped me up my game, I think. Definitely around requirements. So like as I was saying this morning, I now have a better idea of the requirements. So, this is actually an abridged version of the talk I gave in Cape Town at the Scrum user group there. And I gave it with Wayne Bringlewood, who couldn't be here today. Sad face. So, I'm doing it solo. So what was the problem we were trying to solve? So, I think the keynote that Dave gave this morning, and also Martin Gronier's talk earlier, definitely dwells on the problem that I think we all experience. And it's things like silos. So you've got your business analyst silo, you've got your development silo, you've got your business silo. And our problem was that these silos would come together for a 2-day release planning event, and the teams would be told about what they're going to be working on, and they look at some process flows for 2 days together on a PowerPoint presentation, and they have a bun fight, and then they would estimate how long it's going to take. So, yeah, it wasn't working. I think the breaking point for us was when this project, there had been a requirements gathering phase of about like maybe 18 months. It was stop and start, but 18 months delayed to the project, and then became the release planning with the dev teams. And it was that scenario. It was looking at the process flow and then the stories that were produced from that process flow before the release planning was actually pretty much splitting up that process flow into user stories, which doesn't work. So we were looking around different ways of doing it, and impact mapping is one of the things that we decided to look into. So how does it help? So impact mapping. First off, hands up, anyone who's done impact mapping? Yay! Dave. Thanks, Dave. So, yeah, so it's not widely adopted. It's quite new, maybe in the last 2 years. And a guy called Agile, you'll see his name later, but he wrote this book on impact mapping, and it's something that he drew on stuff that was used in the creative industries around like brainstorming and mind mapping and these kind of questions, but you'll see in a second. So it's a visual tool. It helps clarify assumptions, and it also helps prioritize effectively. And yeah, it's really helped us improve a little bit, especially breaking down the silos, I find. So, it would look something like this. You've got the why, the business goal, and once you've identified what the business goal is, and there can only be one goal. If it's more than one goal, you need more than one impact map. Then you identify the actors. So, yeah, the actors that will be impacted. But we'll come to that in a second, don't worry. And then we look at how their behavior needs to change in order to achieve that goal. And how is actually the impact that we're mapping. They are the impacts. And again, it's behavior change. And then you look at what you need to do as a delivery team or organization to achieve that impact in order to achieve that goal. So that's what it is. And just a little example. I think this is actually taken from the Impact Mapping book, which is well worth a read. And yeah, so 1 million players, that's your why. And we've identified that it's for an online gaming site. And we've identified the players, they can help us, and they can change behavior by posting about games. And what we're going to do to enable that is have some feature around achievements. So I don't do online gaming, so that doesn't really relate too much to me. But anyway, so that's an example. And that's just using, that's taking one actor. Obviously you'll have more actors, yeah? Like you might, in the initial session, you might have identified 12, 13 actors, but then you're going to prioritize and just dig into the most important actors for you, for your system. So, half an hour isn't a lot of time, and I thought I'd just be really crazy and spend most of that time doing an impact map. Yes, all you guys, that's right. So, if you can just create little groups, so up to 3, so even if you get a pair. And this is the problem. So, I want you guys to do an impact map, and this is the problem statement. So, the company's taking too long to get to market with a new product. The product doesn't match what the business really needed, but it was built to requirements. And yeah, again, it's not the first time it's happened, and we never learn from our customers. So, if you can break up into pairs or groups of 3, and just if you've got paper from your little packs, you can just create the impact map, right? So, I'm going to give you a little head start. We're just going to spend 15 minutes on this, and then I'll wind up with some do's and don'ts. So, because what I really want to get out of this talk is for you guys to want to try it at work. And if I were just to give a half-hour presentation, I'd be worried that it'd go in one ear and out the other. This thing is so awesome that you really want to do this at work. It really can change the game for you. So, I'm going to give you a head start. So, the why for this impact map is we want to make better product choices. Yeah? So that's what your business goal is. So in your groups of 2 or 3, I want you to identify some actors that can help you achieve that goal. Yeah? So we want to make better product choices as an organization, and you need to identify who can help you achieve the goal and who can obstruct or impede you reaching it. Go! 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 And if you're in a group of maybe 2 or 3 consultants, maybe go and join some for got a minute left, and then we want to start prioritizing.
Both the ideation. What's
Okay, by now you want to be starting to prioritize who the most important actors are. So you really want to get 2 actors to talk about how, to think about how their behavior is going to change. Yeah? So, 1 minute, go! Okay. It's not a competition, folks, don't worry. So again, the impact map, it's going to look like this, right? So I think have some scrap paper, but have another piece of paper where you're making this map look beautiful. Yeah? So, the next part, now that hopefully you've identified the most important actors, we just want to dwell on one at a time, and adjust the off to, because we don't have much time. But questions now that you want to think about is, how must the behavior change to help us towards our goal, or how can they obstruct or impede us? Yeah? So that's what you need to be thinking about in order to identify the behavior changes that your actors need to undergo in order to help us achieve that goal of building or making better product choices. Just do one actor at a time. Even if we just get the behavior changes for one actor, that's a good achievement. Okay, 1 minute left
Yeah, no, that's
for the how phase.
because they guarantee that one, but then they try to resolve okay, so it could be not understanding the client.
I'll give you another 2 minutes. I know it's hard. It's just not a minute. So now we need to start thinking about how we can measure these behavior changes. Yeah? Measurement's very important. So how can we test these assumptions? Yeah? So impact mapping is about tracking assumptions and making them visible. So how can we test those? Is anyone lost? Okay, I'm coming to help you right now.
We said that
Is there anyone else who's not understanding? Is it my accent? Have I rushed? Maybe I have.
we're just saying how we can measure it. It's not about time. We need to measure behavior. We're agile. So like it's a basic function. How do you but in a POC, it's like things like,
Okay.
can you do that to that? Rather do that to that.
I think it's failing miserably. But, okay, next, the least important part, and let's go. Yeah, so the important things with impact mapping for me is discussing the goal, thinking of the actors, and really going into the impact. So the impacts, the behavior change is where you're going to dwell, you're going to spend most of your time. The what's it's good to get, but it's the first 3 parts of impact mapping that are really valuable. So now, very quickly, in 3 minutes, geez, crazy. What do we need to do to make one of those impacts a reality? Yeah. So I think in this case it's probably going to be an organizational activity. But impact mapping can also discuss software features. That's its primary use, but it's useful to discuss different program initiatives as well. So in this one, it's going to be an organizational activity, I think, or something that someone's going to have to go out and do. For example, a product manager might go and learn about product management. But yeah, so 2 minutes to come up with a what. Go.
What? What's the time now?
But it needs to be communicated.
Okay, I think I'm going to have to wrap up because there's an influx of romance. Okay, so just to wrap up, future impact map, photogenic people, very useful. But who you really want, if you're unlucky to have people that good looking, stakeholders, so business people, development, not just architects, but some people from the development team, senior developers. You don't need the whole team. It's beautiful to have the whole team, but at least some representation from the team. And like business operations people. But you want maybe 8 to 12 people. You can do more, but you want to really have a focused conversation. And what we do next for impact mapping, we story map. And we take, we create 1 to 5 epic stories. They're probably going to be epics. And it's as a, from the Who's. So say as a product manager, I want to do customer research on the street so that I've got a better idea of what the customer wants. Yeah? So that's one epic, and then we story map that. And if you don't know much about story mapping, it's a really awesome tool. And I think Jeff Patton's got a book coming out shortly, which I definitely want to read. Pitfalls, having, it's something Dave touched on, having like the wrong people in a meeting, or, you know, I call them passengers. They're just taking up space, not adding much value. You definitely want to minimize that. You want to get like a decent room, feed people, and yeah, it really does help make a focused conversation. You also want to be doing impact mapping early in the life cycle, so just after concept. You don't want to come into a release planning event where you're expecting developers to start developing in the next week or so an impact map. That's kind of reverse engineering. It might be a useful sharing vision tool, but you want to impact map early. And yeah, just having the right people at the right time, and you need a strong facilitator. It's really got to be a well-facilitated conversation. And yeah, that's it. And that's just some tweets. So Goiko Ajik, we had a bit of a Twitter conversation after our first impact mapping session, where we'd run out of time, like I'm running out of time now. And we just did the why, we did the what, we did the why, we did the actors, so the who, we identified some hows, and we left the what for a story mapping session that happened later on. And it's just, their points are quite valuable. You know, it's more about the planning than a plan, it's just the value of the session that matters. And impactmapping.org is Goiko Adjek's website, and you'll find links to his book, a highly recommended book. And yeah, that's me. Thank you very much. We do have time for questions. Don't run away just yet. Any questions? Yes.
What point in the product life cycle? What point in the product life cycle does the impact mapping exercise bring the most value?
So definitely, you know, someone's had a shower moment, they come into work and go, I've had this amazing idea, that's a good time to impact map. Yeah. So earlier the better, definitely. Any more? Thank you.
Hey.